Welcome in to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital. I'm Landon, and this is the post-game show for Mississippi State and Ole Miss, kind of the instant reaction as Mississippi State secures the 81-71 win over the Rebels in Oxford tonight. A game that, Ole Miss had a lot of momentum coming in, winning two straight, one against LSU, and then one against Kentucky. And State was kind of coming apart. We mentioned on the game on the show before tonight's game that State just does not have a lot of momentum, and because of the way they're shooting the ball, the way they're playing defensively, and so a lot of the momentum was towards Ole Miss. Ole Miss was favored in the game. Of course, they were the home team, but from the beginning, Mississippi State made it clear that defense was going to be how they were going to impact this game and turn it into points because Josh Hubbard again just did not have a great night shooting the ball. And so, we don't have our typical setup with the lights and the microphone, but thought we'd go ahead and give an instant reaction. So I want to get into Hubbard's effort in this game, but also, and really the bigger point is everybody else's contribution. Mississippi State gets 17 from RJ Melendez, and even with that, I mean 5 rebounds. But in his 25 minutes, he was a menace on the defensive side of the ball. He was all game long. He was moving with his hands, trying to get in there, trying to force steals and make Ole Miss uncomfortable. State also got 14 from Hubbard, but again, really was kind of quiet early on and still didn't shoot the ball extremely well. Kugel had 11 points. Keyshawn Murphy had only 10 points, only played 18 minutes in the game. Claudel Harris had 10. I thought he played well. Daquan Warren came in and really played some. He only played 5 minutes in the game, but kind of close out the first half and played really good defense, which is kind of what he's there to do. Play solid defense, and then if he scores, he scores. But really just to be there. Cam Matthews, he played 34 minutes, only had 6 points, but he had 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He struggled finding his ability to score, but he's impacting the game in several different ways. And so I think that's huge for him. And then Sean Jones has just been, again, scoring the ball is not really his forte, but he's kind of your prototypical 3-and-D kind of player. In the NBA, those are guys that are huge. You're not going to be like the main guy, but if you're an NBA watcher, kind of your Jamar Grant, that kind of guy who's a forward who plays really good defense. Sean Jones plays really, really good active defense. And State was making it uncomfortable for Ole Miss all night long. I mean, it just didn't seem like anyone on Ole Miss's side was able to get comfortable shooting the ball. Dia was had 9 points, 8 rebounds, but not he was forcing a lot of shots. It seemed like, and not driving it down low. Jalen Murray for Ole Miss had 14. Brakefield had 10. Padula had 13. But there was no one for Ole Miss. It seemed like who were able to get going. And this is a home game for Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss is favored, and you kind of think that they have the scores to be able to turn it up. And State just played lockdown defense in this game. This type of defensive effort is something we have not seen from Mississippi State in some time. It's been a little bit since we've seen them play this well on the defensive side of the ball. And so I thought Mississippi State played so well the entire night. State has got a lot of momentum from this. So with the win, State moves to 18-7. 18-7, and then also 5-5 in conference. Is that right? No, sorry, 6-6. Yeah, I knew they were even there, back to 500, but moves to 6-6 with the win over Ole Miss. But if Mississippi State's defense can stay on this course, playing like they will, this is the fewest points they have given up in since January 25th, which was to South Carolina. And then they only gave up 68 to Tennessee. So State has played really well on the defensive side of the ball, and honestly, that kind of felt like the part of the team that had to get better quick. That felt like a part of the team that Chris Jans is kind of known for, is really, really tough defense. It's stifling. It bothers people to death, and that leads and turns into points. But the last few games, Mississippi State has not had that type of defensive effort, or not had that kind of defensive result, at least. And so you really kind of had to wonder, like, man, are they going to be able to get back up on the horse and be effective? And Mississippi State was all throughout. So we'll talk a couple more thoughts about this game. Mississippi State again sweeps Ole Miss in the season series, just the second time in 14 years. Really impressive, really something good to build on. I'll get to a little bit more here in just a second. Do want to let you know that My Dogs Are Barking podcast on MPW Digital is brought to you in part by Arpa's Coffee there in Starkville. Man, if you have not gotten to Arpa's this football season, this basketball season, now the baseball season started, you have no excuse. You got to get down to Arpa's. It's in the heart of the Cotton District. Great place for coffee. Great place for really unique food. It's delicious. And also, if you're a caffeine guy like me, like it's a cool, and it's also a unique type of coffee. So Venezuelan, owned by a Venezuelan family, and so they have Venezuelan hot dogs, Venezuelan hamburger, kind of gourmet hamburgers, nachos and fries, but also a lot of other like really unique things, especially for breakfast as well. Breakfast seems to be their forte, but then you also get some good Venezuelan coffee. It's really really good. Go give it a try. Let them know that you're a listener of the My Dogs Barking podcast. You get 15% off your order. Can't beat that, man. Just give it a try and get some money knocked off of it. Doesn't hurt at all. For Ole Miss, they were not shooting the ball at a great rate. They were not shooting the ball from three the way other teams have in the past. I mean, other teams shooting the ball versus Mississippi State, they're money, man. But they're getting rich on the three, but not Ole Miss, man. They were not getting rich on the three like other teams have, because just about every team can shoot 3-pointers versus Mississippi State and get rich off of them. But hey, what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your base in Mississippi, Edward Jones advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help you support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843, and together you can find your rich. Edward Jones, member SIPC. In this game, it looked like Ole Miss was going to be able to make a comeback there in the second half, as again Hubbard was at sometimes I felt like shooting them out of the game because he wasn't really on, and so what would happen is Hubbard would miss, and if Mississippi State did not get the rebound, which they were remarkable on rebounds tonight, then Ole Miss would take it and kind of turn it into points. But in this, tonight, it seemed like State was able to rely on some other people, and they had to. Obviously, that was something that they had to do. But State had the ability to find a way to use other people, and Melendez was huge in this game. He was able to be a guy that you really relied on, and so kind of pulling up some of the bigger stats for this game that kind of stuck out. State in the last 3:45 didn't score a field goal. They just played very good defense. Hubbard was 3 of 13 shooting, 2 of 8. If going into this, you told me, especially the way other guys have played recently, if you'd said that, hey, here's what's going to happen. Hubbard is going to be 3 of 13 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3. I would probably say State would lose that game, and even just say 14 points. But Melendez was huge, 7 of 11 from the field. Kugel was 4 of 10 from the field. Nwoko played well. He only played 14 minutes. But because of the game shape he's in, it's kind of perfect. Like, that's kind of where he needs to be. Sorry, long Saturday. I tell you what, man, long Saturday. But State ultimately gets the win. In terms of Ole Miss, Jalen Murray led them with 14 points. And State obviously was led by Melendez, who, when Melendez is on and he's playing good defense, I mean, he's one of the best for State kind of going forward, just because of the ability that he has, and how he affects offensive players because of his defensive skill. Like, it's really remarkable. And again, after this game, that is the 6th quad 1 win for Mississippi State, and they have 3 more quad 1 games before they get a break and get to go play a quad 3 game versus LSU. State kind of moving forward here. We're going to kind of get an outlook on the next few games. Of course, we will have a preview for Mississippi State and Texas A&M this week. State plays Texas A&M at home. Really, really big home game. Honestly, the best home game that's remaining on the schedule is Tuesday night at Humphrey Coliseum. Number 8, Texas A&M, who just beat Arkansas tonight, is coming to Humphrey Coliseum to play Mississippi State. We're going to look at that, and we'll preview that on, I believe it'd be Monday's show. Yeah, Monday show or Sunday show. And we will look at that a little more in depth. But when we come back from the break, I do want to get into what is upcoming for Mississippi State, because at this moment, State has they have 6 regular season games left until we get into the SEC tournament. And there's 2 games on the road that State really needs to split here in these next 3 games overall. And I think they have the ability to. But we'll look at that here in just a second. We'll share the screen so you can kind of get a look if you're watching on YouTube, which is always a good experience outside of the fact that you got to see my face. And when Austin's on the show, you get to see Austin's face, which is a little bit better. But, what are you going to do? A face for radio. So we'll be right back after these ads from MPW Digital.
All MPW Digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them, because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW Digital. We're brought to you by Easy Hemp Company. Easy is a hemp-infused sparkling water. It's a guilt-free alcohol alternative, a natural way to relax and unwind. It's all natural. Made with real fruit, no added sugar, low calories, gluten-free. One 12-ounce can of Easy has 3 milligrams of THC. With Easy, it's easy to avoid the gummy scare and control your experience. So change the can, not the ritual. It's easy. Visit EasyHempCo.com to view the Easy Finder to find Easy near you. Easy is Farm Bill compliant with hemp derived from THC, CBD extracts. Easy is for people 21 and older. Enjoy responsibly.
And we're back to My Dogs Are Barking here on MPW Digital, the reaction show. I do want to share my screen briefly here before we get out of here. So this is who Mississippi State has left. If you're watching on YouTube, cool. If you're not watching on YouTube, I'll tell you what we're looking at. So State has Texas A&M Tuesday night, the 18th, in Starkville at 6 o'clock. Then on Saturday, so you get a couple of days, you got some travel days. You go on the road at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's struggling. It's a noon game on Saturday. Then you have Alabama on the road next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. And Alabama loses tonight versus Auburn, but Alabama can still shoot the ball. I mean, lights out shooting the ball. So that's going to be a really tough one to win. Oklahoma's very winnable, but you still have to go on the road, and that's just, that's no small feat. Then you got LSU and Texas back-to-back. Those are both games State should be favored in. And just to be honest, State should win both of those games. And if State does, they'll get their 20th win of the season. They'll get their 7th SEC win, which would be huge. And then you get a game on the road at Arkansas. And in that game, if you take care of business versus Oklahoma, LSU, Texas, I think that's good enough to get you in, because that's 21 wins in the regular season. And sorry, State is going to be in regardless. State's going to be in. The question is, where's the seeding going to be? I think if State wins these next 3 games, you're looking at borderline, or wins those 3 games, you're looking at 8 seed to 7 seed. If State also beats Arkansas, I think you're looking more so at a 7 seed. If State ends up surprising us and beats either A&M or Alabama, then I mean you're locked up a 7 seed or better as you go into the SEC tournament. State, in terms of strength of schedule, which is a huge deal. I mean, they're 23rd in the nation out of 335 teams. So State's strength of schedule will be brought into the picture whenever it comes to kind of what their resume is. And when it comes to that, we're going to break down the SEC tournament. We'll have some guests on that are from other schools and kind of get their take. We might even see if we can do some sort of roundtable show where we have different people from different shows and just kind of break down the SEC tournament, which is just a fun deal. Just kind of talk through, what that might look like and that kind of thing. So that ends our reaction show. Mississippi State gets the win 81-71 versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss from here, so they came in this game, they're 19 in the nation. They dropped to 19-7. At this point, Ole Miss goes on the road to play Vanderbilt Saturday. And I'm just going to be honest with you, I don't want any part of Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt took Tennessee down to the wire tonight. And we talk about, and especially in college basketball, the further you get, momentum's a very fun thing. When you think about Kimball Walker and UConn, they win they go 5 games in 5 days and win their conference, and they go five more wins in a row and win the national title. Momentum's, after kind of a subpar season, momentum's a really big deal. Vanderbilt is getting hot at the right time. I get it. They dropped kind of a close one on the road at Tennessee, but Vanderbilt's not a fun team to play right now. Oh yeah, then all of a sudden Ole Miss goes on the road at Auburn. Again, not fun. I mean, Auburn is sensational. So they got Vanderbilt Saturday. So a week from today, they have a full week to rest. That's the great news. The horrible news is then you play Auburn on Wednesday. So you get 3 days later, you go on the road again at Auburn. You get Oklahoma at home. You get Tennessee at home. Then you go on the road at Florida to end the season. I do not want to be Ole Miss to end the season. I'll be interested to see what happens there, man. Because I mean, you're looking at those next games. I think they'll be favored versus Vanderbilt, but you might only be favored in one of your next 5 games. Again, I think they'll be favored versus Vanderbilt, but they're the home team. So Ole Miss has got a really tough stretch. Mississippi State's kind of finished with their very difficult stretch. I mean, I get it. You get Texas A&M and then Alabama, but like State just went through all those teams a little bit earlier. So they're kind of through the toughest part of the season, and they're just looking for some upsets along the way. So we will keep you posted with everything on My Dogs Are Bargain. But I think this was a very big win for Mississippi State. I think for Mississippi State fans, this is encouraging going forward to think like, okay, we're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. We needed a win, and Mississippi State got a win in Oxford tonight. And that's not something a lot of Mississippi State fans were thinking were happening. They were thinking that the sky was falling and that they should just focus on Mississippi State baseball, destroying Manhattan tomorrow and getting the clean sweep. But they had a little bit better news than I think they expected tonight. Without Kanye Clary, Mississippi State has had to adjust in what they really maybe thought their season would look like. And tonight was an adjustment back to what makes State really good, and that is tenacious defense, all around help getting rebounds, because State doesn't have some big center. They don't have a Malik Dia, that's someone that large. Instead, they have had to rely on other people, or on several people, kind of running and making an attempt at getting the rebound. And State was successful tonight in Oxford in doing so. So looking forward to seeing where this team goes. Again, Tuesday, very quick turnaround against a very good team in Texas A&M, but A&M's got to travel. So we will see where it goes. State has a really good opportunity, and like I said, we will break down that game versus Texas A&M a little bit more thoroughly. I'm excited about these next couple of games, man. It's going to be fun. One of the best parts of the year is, we just feel like we just had Christmas, and now all of a sudden, well, first off, Christmas at this point was almost exactly 2 months ago. Now we're getting to really the best part of the year, which is March Madness, and always so much fun. So thank you so much for listening. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. It's just at MyDawgsPod. You can subscribe to our Substack for free there. Make sure you subscribe to MPW Digital, 11,000 subscriptions, most downloaded podcasting network in the state of Mississippi. But we need to get those Mississippi State listeners in particular up to match there with the Ole Miss brethren. Make sure we are very well represented. So thank you guys so much for listening to My Dogs Are Barking.